Hi Capricorn, welcome to your mid-March 2020 General Tarot Updates. It's Raina here. Whew, alright, this time I'm going to go from right to left. Let's try something a little bit different so that I don't get the same cards over and over again. Pick an additional card. Okay. All right, well, you know, there's a few cards here that are challenging. And it's funny, I was just thinking about this. I'm a Sagittarian, and I was just thinking about, you know, difficult times and like what causes difficult times and, you know, when do they end? And it can be really frustrating because you can look at your life and say, boy, you know, it seems like things have been pretty tough for me, and I try to do things to kind of counter it, and it still seems like these things persist. Like, what exactly can we do? And I don't know. I mean, I don't know that everything is always supposed to be peachy keen. Maybe sometimes we are meant to experience extended trials and tribulations. What I try to do on my end is to always perceive myself as being blessed, no matter what. Even if I feel like, wow, you know, this year so far, you know, isn't very easy, isn't very pleasant. Still see the good, still have gratitude. And so in the centerpiece, which is the heart of the matter, we have the Nine of Swords, which is a card of anxiety. The person feels that their hands are tied, and so maybe you feel like your hands are tied. This year, you're still going to have eclipses in your sign and Cancer, and it can be scary, and maybe it has been scary. Maybe it was scary in 2018 and 2019, or especially 2019, when you were experiencing eclipses in your sign in in Cancer, because you might have felt like there was a lot of change, and some of it was unwelcome, unwanted. And that leaves people feeling apprehensive about the future. Like, is the rug going to be pulled out from under me? And how can I survive? Forgetting that you survived just fine in the past, when you didn't have some of the things that you thought you needed in order to feel safe. And the anxiety can come, you may know why you're anxious about something. There may be a specific area of your life that feels hard to manage. Or you could be having free-floating anxiety and you really can't pinpoint the source of it. There are different types of anxiety. I'm not so sure that knowing the reason for it really makes much of a difference, because if you know why you're anxious but you don't feel like there's anything you can do to make yourself not anxious, then it goes back to like, what good is it, you know, in a certain sense. In the past position, we have the Judgment card, and this can be this feeling that it's all coming down to the wire, in a sense, where everything is like the karmic payback is coming in. The Judgment card, I believe, connects to Pluto, but it definitely has that theme of rebirth. And I definitely would see like the eclipses as going along with this idea of rebirth. And So the bottom line is about understanding that there's cause and effect in the universe. With the Nine of Swords, Capricorn, you may feel like life is just, beating you up, and you don't know why. You think it's just randomly happening. And it's a better method to kind of reflect upon the choices you've made and to see if perhaps there have been things that you have done that have increased the, how can I put it? Increase the likelihood of experiencing blowback. For instance, an example is if you were appointed to a position of authority and then you took advantage of it. Not because of being a bad person, but simply because maybe of insecurities of feeling powerless and then finally getting that power and not knowing what to do with it or how to, handle it properly. I think that these kinds of things are human. When somebody has felt kind of subjugated, and now you've had to kind of get knocked down a peg. Something, I wasn't even thinking about this, but when you have a lunar eclipse in your 10th house, it can be like some kind of a fall from grace, even, because the 10th house is your reputation, and it's like something getting exposed about you, or just the universe saying, okay, that's over with, maybe we'll try again later, but you have to be on your best behavior when you get in a position of power. You have to, you have other people who are depending on their job for their basic sustenance, and you can't exploit that by how you treat them. And I don't know why I felt called to say that, because that was certainly not what I thought when I first saw those cards. But in case this is relevant, even if it's only relevant to one person, it's important for you to know that, and not to feel like a victim, but to really acknowledge what you may have done that was erroneous, so that you can move on, so that you're not feeling like that you're trapped, but you understand how you trip yourself up. The higher message is the King of Cups. This may mean, in some cases, counseling to deal with whatever it is, the anxiety, the cause of the anxiety. King of Cups is also about father or father figure who is very caring. If you did not have the gift of a father in your life who was understanding, caring, sensitive to your needs, it's important to know that you can still have that for yourself. In the first place, you can give it to yourself. You can give everything that you did not get when you needed it as a child, and give that to yourself. And I'm wondering also with the Nine of Swords, if this is you doing this to yourself in actuality. In the Rider-Waite deck, they show a woman, and this is the interpretation. I don't know who came up with this originally, but I'm just parroting what I've read, that there's a flowered bedspread, and it shows that things are not as bad as they seem. So the person may be taking their thoughts, which the swords represent, and using them as weapons against themselves by these kind of self-limiting, more like these negative beliefs that turn into anxiety. And the King of Cups to me is having compassion for yourself, and stop writing yourself so hard. Cancer. Why do I keep saying Cancer? Capricorn is a very ambitious sign, and so you may not give yourself a break. You may be very hard on yourself, Capricorn, and that can lead to never being satisfied with your accomplishments, first and foremost. And because of that, being very self-denying. And that leads to more unhappiness and anxiety, because your natural state, all of our natural state is joy, is a sense of ease, a sense of feeling like we are blessed and taken care of. And when you deprive yourself of those feelings because you feel like you have to ride yourself, that you have to be tough on yourself, you're really telling yourself and the universe that you do not deserve to be given a break, that you have to be like very tough on yourself. It's not generosity to your soul. And speaking of that, the challenge card is the Five of Pentacles, which is a card of lack consciousness. So this goes along very nicely with what I just said. And it's, Pentacles, we think of generosity or material abundance and not about anything else. But in actuality, a person who is stingy, and yes, I am talking about you, Capricorn. And when I say that, I mean economical. You're very concerned with, not wasting money and things like that. A person like you, who is like this with money, is usually going to be like that with everything, including how you view yourself and how you view others. The ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. Saturn is conservative, it's conserving, it's trying to save some things. And a person who is conservative with money may be very stingy with compliments, may feel like compliments make people soft. And that includes themselves. You have to be hard on yourself, or otherwise you won't live up to your potential. That could be like a deeply ingrained belief within yourself. And I challenge that within you, Capricorn. I want you to start saying affirmations that do not require that you earn the respect of them, but simply that you believe in these affirmations, that you believe that they are true. One of them can be something like, the universe always has my back. I'm always supported by the universe in every possible way. So that that contracted feeling, that feeling of scarcity and lack consciousness, which is what the Five of Pentacles, represents, that can be countered, because I know that feeling. I know that feeling of kind of like tightening up, feeling like everything is slipping through your fingers financially, and wanting to control it and not being able to. And the more that you can loosen that grip, might be a mental grip, whatever it is, the Nine of Swords, it might be a mental grip, to loosen those ties from the rope. Oh, why did I pick that card? What's coming in is represented by the Two of Cups. This can be a card of partnership. One thing that I haven't talked about has been this with, I've been talking a lot about you and your mindset, but if we're talking about specific issues, like for instance, on the romantic level, if you have been feeling anxiety because perhaps you are, poised to get divorced, the Judgment card, you're waiting for the word, and you still feel trapped until you hear from that. The Two of Cups can be a card of reuniting, it can be a card of forgiveness, and it can be a card of commitment. So in the terms of commitment, perhaps you are afraid that if you've been going through a divorce and it seems like forever, so that you can move on with your life, you're going to. But I'm wondering if it's more about, like reuniting with somebody, because we have, I'm recording this on the 9th of March and Mercury turns direct today, but there still is a shadow period till the end of the month. And if you've heard back from somebody from your past, we have here, this was the first outcome card I picked, and this is the Five of Swords. So this can be a card of deception, and there are multiple people involved. Somebody can come back when you are at your lowest point, and you may be feeling a sense of weakness and a willingness to entertain taking somebody back who perhaps you feel really has ruined your life. So I want you, if this sounds at all familiar to you, Capricorn, I want you to really, think that very, very well before you decide. I have been talking more about your inner state of being than any specific scenario. This is kind of like one of the first ones that I'm talking about. And the reason is because it all starts with you. It really doesn't matter what other people do or don't do. What matters is what you're doing about your situation. And so an additional card I picked was the Three of Pentacles. And this is a card of teamwork, working well with others. Like I say, with the Two of Cups, this may even be joining forces with somebody and even adding a third person to help you if you feel like your hands are tied with something. But if this is like a relationship issue, understanding that if you take back this person, there's a possibility that they are still involved with somebody else. When you see a 3 and it's dealing with relationships, there could be a third party. And this person may be slandering everyone in their wake, and saying lies about everybody to get other people, the other person, to cooperate with them. So again, it's up to you. The Judgment card in the past position. How has judgment screwed you up, or a lack thereof? Okay, Capricorn, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below, and you take care of yourself. Bye.